Cheers!
Hello, hello, happy Sunday. Thank you again, Soft Elf. I know I was chatting with you in chat, but I wanted to personally thank you again for the resub and for 7 months. That is absolutely crazy that we know each other that long. I'm super grateful and I appreciate you, and I'm glad you're doing well. And I'm so excited for you to be knitting a blanket. That's impressive. I can't knit to save my life. I tried. Crochet is easier for my brain. Knitting never hit well, but I always love watching like other streamers knit and stuff. So I appreciate you, and I'm glad you're here. Do we're playing Sigh of the Abyss today. Hopefully we're gonna finish it today. Um, I can't stream as long as I want today because I have a date later, and that takes priority. But I'm still hoping we can finish it today because we're at the Queen's Ball, which usually signals we're getting towards the end of the game. So we're going to try and finish it today. I will probably post it. I'm only hand knitting with big chunky yarn because I don't have the finger dexterity for crochet and actual knitting. That's fair. I mean, hey, it still counts. Also, gotta love big chunky yarn. The bigger the yarn, the better and easier. I love when blankets big up. For crochet, I always use like taller stitches so the blanket works up faster because fuck single crochets. Single crochets have their place. They are amazing with plushies. But when it comes to blankets, fuck single crochets. I do like double, triple crochet stitches, so they're like taller, so the blanket builds faster. You're not sure of the colors you chose because you picked four, and online the colors were definitely different. Oh no, I hate when that happens. This probably was different dye lots. That's the problem with yarn, is that even if it's the same, like, quote unquote colors, the dye lots can cause a huge difference in shading, and it sucks. The blanket I'm making is supposed to be queen size because I want it to be like my comforter for my bed, and I'm terrified. So far, I've been lucky, and the dye lots haven't been too off, but like I definitely need like a million skeins. Oh, that sucks. Yeah, I'm very lucky. I have a Michaels and a Joe. My Joann's is literally like 5 minutes down the street. My Michaels is more like 10 minutes away. But the thing is, it's funny. I used to go to Michael's more for yarn than Joann's. But since I moved to this specific area where I am now, the Michael's yarn section is very depressing. And Joann's is better, but Joann's doesn't carry the colors I freaking need. So I actually get my yarn for my current blanket off Walmart, because Walmart is the only store that carries the specific color for the burnout blanket yarn. I forget what the name of it is, but like I can find the other. I'm using two colors for my blanket. I can find one color everywhere. The other, though, literally can only get it off Walmart. I might try Joann's because we do have one here, but it's always been disappointed. Yeah, it definitely depends on the area, because like where I used to live before, the Joann's was sucky when it came to yarn, but the Michaels was better. And now here I'm like, what is happening? I know they do it off supply and demand of like the local area, but I'm like, there are literally no knitters or crocheters in my town. Burnett is top tier blanket yarn, so I'm not surprised you're using it. I'll have to post a picture of my work in progress blanket that's nowhere near done. I've been working on it for months, and I'm not even near the halfway point. That's why I said it's going to take me 20 years, because my ADHD combined with doing such a big blanket, it's going to take me forever. Yeah, I'm using big blanket one, so I'll definitely post this one. Yeah. We'll swap blanket pics. I'm excited. What Oh, I don't know anything about knitting stitches, so otherwise I was going to ask, like, what kind of stitch you're using, but even if you told me, I wouldn't know. I'm doing, like, a cat stitch blanket, so the stitches I'm doing build together to make it look like a cat in the pattern. So, I'll have to share it. But I'm looking at it on my couch, looking all sad and abandoned. um... But yeah, I freaking love crocheting. I wish it loved me back. But my wrist, it kills my wrist too hard. I have to do I have to wear a wrist brace sometimes, and I have to do wrist exercises. Genuinely, I don't know either. I just followed the most basic tutorial ever. This is my first time doing anything with yarn. Oh, exciting! That's fun. Oh, I hope you're having fun, and I hope you... I'm sure it's gonna look beautiful. It's gonna be great. I'm so excited to see it. I think, but that's exciting, and hopefully it inspires something. Yarn is expensive though, so buy nothing groups is where you're gonna get a lot of free yarn. A majority of my yarn that I have is free. I got for free off of buy nothing groups. If you get addicted, because yarn is so expensive. Don't buy yarn on a whim just because it's pretty. Have a plan for it. Trust me. Because yarn collecting, yarn buying, and actual knitting and crocheting are two different hobbies. Yeah, buy nothing groups on Facebook. That's the only reason I keep... Well, actually, that's not true. The only reason I keep Facebook is because my cat Lou is chronically ill, and I need a specific Facebook group for her medication. But it's also great for buy nothing groups. Bought $90 worth for this wing. I'm pretty sure I'm going to New York. You probably will. I have... Trying to do the math. I have about almost $200 worth of yarn in my blanket right now, and it's nowhere near it. It's not even halfway. That blanket's gonna, when I'm done with it, is gonna be, if I were to want to sell it for money or whatever, I'd have to charge $800. How big of a blanket are you making, Soft Elf? Like, are you just making like like a throw blanket? Um, but yeah, no, the yarn goes quickly and is not cheap. But yeah, I definitely. I mean, if you don't care if like what you get, buy nothing groups are great. You're just going to your heart tells you you're dead. I love that so much. That's hilarious. Ideally, you want to be like a full size, not a throw. That's fair. Um, I wish I kind of start off with a throw blanket just because I could pace myself a bit better. But then I was like, nah, go big or go home. When am I ever going to get the urge to do a queen size blanket? So I went and I'm trying to make a queen size. I'm 5'4" and I'm almost as wide as I am tall. So. I'm 5'5". About the same, yeah, wide as I am tall. So like, I got a queen bed for a reason, even though I live alone. I wanted my space, and I also have 2 cats. So I think this will make it easier for us to all share a blanket instead of them being just stealing my blankets. Speaking with Lua, stop chewing on that. Lua's on top of my PC and it's like, let me chew on this Wi-Fi extender that you're so not using anymore since you switched to Ethernet, but I keep it plugged in for funsies. No chewing. No chewing. What was I saying? Where are we? Oh yeah, we're at the Queen's Ball in the game. Well, we're not at it. We're getting to there. We're romancing Sylas, who's beautiful and wonderful, and I love her. And I tried looking on Etsy the other day for some fan art of her and could not find any, so I'm sad. But let us. I'm an Eastern King, but I have a partner and a big ass dog who likes to steal my blanket. Fair, fair. Honestly, if I ever were to get a partner, which it's a possibility now, because I've been seeing someone. We're not official yet though, but like, if I were to have a partner move in with me, I would want to upgrade to a king because like, I need my space. 100% need my space. Like, I like cuddles, but I also need space. It's like the song NASA with Ariana Grande. Like, I'ma need space. Yeah, exactly. You get me a soft elf. Space is important. I like having the choice of being up in someone's business or away from their business. I'll still be chatting, so like I'll still talk to you. Don't think you can't chat. I'm just gonna start reading the game so we can progress because I'm like, I want to finish this game today. Proceeds to not play it and just talks the whole stream because I would. So feel free to still chat with me. I will respond in between dialogue. All right, so when you open your eyes, the bedroom is plunged in darkness. Sylas next to you stretches with a whine. Ah, my beautiful girlfriend. Sylas says, I need to be in the Forester's Hide before dawn. A yawn muffles her words. I'm not a very touchy person, so I rarely like cuddles, but I try for my partner. My problem is, I love cuddles, but my back doesn't. So, like, if I sit in a position for too long, my back cries. And I'm in so much pain, and ibuprofen doesn't do much for it. Because, of course, I'm 26 with back problems. And that sucks because, like, I would love to cuddle with with someone long term. But, like, after, like, 5 minutes, my back starts to get tight and it hurts. And I'm, like, start squirming. And then my cats abandoned me. So, born to love to cuddle. Born to never be able to cuddle long term. But I get the not super touchy. Like, I'm weirdly, like, I'm okay with cuddles, but, like, a hug is dependent on the person. Like, I have to know you very well for a hug. Or, like, want the hug first. Sylas says, what about you? We respond, Aless told me I should be at the refrain at noon. How is that fair? She responds. You kiss her nose and she yawns into your collar. Sorry for waking you up. You can go back to sleep. She forces herself to sit with another yawn. I wonder if I'll manage to sneak out and see you. Oh, please do, Sylas. Please. My friends always joke that they know it's serious when I want a hug. Me and my big emotions. And I know. So I could not type yesterday. Oh my god. When I was texting everyone, I had a million typos. And I'm literally like, I know how to type. I'm not all thumbs. I'm not my parents who send me strings of hieroglyphics that I have to decode because they can't type with their phone. But yesterday it's not it. I can't type. But anyway. That is funny though. I'm liberal with my hugs with like my friends, but like kind of. I don't often initiate it. I'll like take it, but I won't be like, you want a hug? Knowing that you'll be there makes me feel like everything will be fine, we say to Sylas. Of course it will, and if you're in trouble, yell my name and I'll come rescue you. Aw, my sweetie pie. Will you now? Her grin is wide and devious. You have no idea how much damage a spilled glass of wine can do in a party like that. She gets up and stretches her arms. How am I supposed to get ready when I can't see anything? I can help, we respond. You thrive in the darkness that hinders her. You fetch her clothes, pluck some sage leaves from downstairs so she can brush her teeth, and hand over her daggers. Hopefully I won't need them. Nevertheless, she conceals them in her oversized vest. Yeah, what is your task at the dance exactly? So Sylas is like a gangster in this game. That's like the closest I could equate her to. She's a gangster, and so she's going to this dance for a job for her gang. And we're going because we're like a god, and the abyss that we're a part of is like, you must reveal that you're a god at this party because you're going to kill everyone. Obviously, we don't want to kill everyone. But the abyss is like, yeah, no, you need to go. You need to tell the world that you exist and kill all the nobles and evil people. Which includes Sylas' gang. The abyss wants us to kill all the gang members and all the nobles. It gives no fucks. This is not a lighthearted romance game. But we're not, that's not the plan. Because I need a happily ever after with Sylas, and I can't do that if I kill her, so. I'm not supposed to tell you, she says. Of course she can't tell us. Please tell me. You bat your eyes. It's enough to make her capulate. Oh, yes. My womanly wiles wins. The Aquilas are renovating the place. They added a whole new wing or something in Syh. I need to know how their villa changed and keep my ears open for anything interesting. She's awake, ready, and hungry. They'll feed me when I reach the estate, right? They'll have to once they realize how grumpy you become when you're hungry, we respond. Her pout, more of a reflex than real upset, doesn't escape your eyes. Wow, Sylas says. In the darkness, barely sliced by the moonlight, she is a shadow most tender. You cup her face and leave a kiss on her nose. I'll find you there. Please do, she responds. After scratching the back of Sinister's ears. Oh, I forgot Soft Elf. I jokingly, so we adopted a cat together, Sylas and I jokingly named it after Sinister, who you know and love. I promise to name something after you next time I have the opportunity. Sylas leaves with a spring in her step. You promised her you'd ask the neighbor to watch the cat, but you need to wait for a more appropriate hour to bother her. Once the city bells rang 9 times, you crouch next to the one-eyed Sinister. Oh, I just realized I forgot to change the sound for the game from Infinity Nikki to Sigh of the Abyss. I'm so sorry. There we go. Changed it. You should now be able to hear the game. Whoops. To your surprise, she lets you pick her up. You do it the way Sylas does, with a hand under the cat's abdomen. I've heard that the neighbor will spoil you rotten. You lock the door and knock the one next to yours. Yes? Asked the neighbor. We got good morning. Sylas sent me. It's about our cat. Here's the cat. I hope I'm not bothering you. Good morning. The door opens to her jolly smile. Good morning to you. Leatrice, isn't it? You slide a hand over Sinister's soft fur. And Sinister. Sylas told me she'd drop her off. Did something happen? Her innocent question masks an unquenchable thirst for gossip that threatens to swallow the rest of your morning. She left already. The neighbor produces a small bundle of dried herbs. Lured by the pleasant scent, Sinister dives into her arms. Ha! Works every time. Your beloved cat is standoffish no more. The transformation is shocking. The bundle of herbs is safe in her clawed paws, and she licks it while performing feats of contortion that make you fear for her spine. Don't you worry, it'll wear off in some hours, but that will keep her around. Did you just cat drug my cat? Catnip? You question the neighbor's methods, but she seems to know what she's talking about. Now, dear, I must apologize to you. I don't think we have properly introduced each other. We should. I'm Marissa. I'm so happy to see that someone's taking care of Sylas. I did notice her new blouse. A gift from you? I've played this game. This is technically like 3 times, and I've never learned this woman's name, so I guess that's exclusive to Sylas' route. She just managed to say all that without taking a single breath. How'd you two meet? I'm a sucker for good love stories. Ma'am, I don't have time for this, but you're adorable, and I'm so glad you love us lesbian couple. Tell her all the details. Don't tell her anything Sylas won't want to share. Apologies, it must go as well. Let her do most of the talking. Don't tell her anything Sylas won't want to share. There are many things you cannot talk about. The Abyss, Sherry, I forgot. I named it Sherry. Santana, so you focus on Sylas instead and how this kind stranger became a trusted friend and your lover. That's very good, dear. Being your beloved's best friend. It's working for me. 23 years and counting. Sylas has been by your side ever since you opened your eyes on that fateful night. You have relied on her so much that you cannot imagine her absence. Lady Prime, aid me. The Solstice Festival is the time to confess. How could she not? You piece together her comments to learn that she works as a nanny for House Di Lucio. She makes the best jams in the Eastern Hold, and the secret to her happy hearth with a cobbler and a baker is an unguent she created to keep her feet smooth and soft. You really did not want to know the last part. Once the bells rang for the 11th hour, you realize that between your stories and her sayings, hours have passed. I must go now. Do tell me that catnip recipe if you find it. Will do, dear, Arissa responds. Ouch! Gentle with those things, says Aless. From the hallway you share with Aless, you can see that her room is in shambles. One servant is lacing her braids with golden dust, and another is crushing a red paste in a small mortar. Where have you been? You need to get ready. Draped in yellow silks and pure gold, Aless has never looked more beautiful. Serena Ipsissima, will you need makeup underneath the mask? I don't plan to take it off, I respond. It would smudge underneath the doggedy mask, Lady Fidelio. Sorry, it's been so long since I played this game, I forgot how to say everyone's names. I told you, it's Aless, she responds. My apologies, Aless, says the servant. You haven't seen the mask yet, have you? We ask. With pride, you present to her Malik's latest creation. How'd you manage to find something that goes so well with your dress? She asks. My friend Malik fixed this old thing so well, you'd hardly believe it's a decade old. Before she can say anything, another servant enters your field of view. Miss Venier, you should get ready as well. You give a less than apologetic smile and follow the handmaid. Fitting into the dress is the easy part. Confident with your measurements, Anilia has tailored it to account for your narrow shoulders and small bust. It fits like a glove. Sitting still while unguents are applied to your hair, however, it's painfully boring. Leatrice, I hope I'm not bothering you, says Brother Mattia. Of course not, we respond. Silent and efficient, the servant does not seem to mind his presence. Aless wanted you to know that she plans to be fashionably late, not rudely. Did she tell you what she meant by that exactly? You have shy of an hour left before you need to depart for a fashionably late arrival, responds the servant. The pen she's using to secure your locks in place stabs your scalp. It'll be lonely here without you two and Ascanio. What will you do while we're gone? I was taught crocheting. Oh my god, Brother Mattia! Look at us, twins! We both crochet. I was taught crocheting when I was younger. Perhaps I could pick it back up, he responds. You think you'd be that bored, huh? Without anybody around, yes, he responds. Now that you think about it, all his interests, chief among them, Bose, require other people. Raise your head, miss, says the servant. Another pin stabs you. Brother Mattia engages you in idle chit-chat until you are ready. Just as you think your ordeal is over, another servant enters the room and places a small box in your lap. Jewelry for the occasion. You don't have any earring holes, miss. The servant produces a long needle and a lemon. The sting doesn't hurt nearly as much as the biting juice of the fruit. Lady was just like, no earring? No piercings? No problem. Let's take care of that right here and now. Goddamn. That would terrify me if someone was just like, jewelry. Oh, you don't have the proper holes for them? Let's fix that. And then produces a long needle out of nowhere. Terrifying. And with the mask, I am now Serena Ipsissima. I'll be honest, the wooden smile is unnerving, says Brother Mattia. Good. That should make people keep their distance, we respond. And what if they address you? I'll try my best Doggedy accent. Miss Veneer, the carriage is here, says Celeste. Brother Mattia traces the full symbol of the goddess in the air. May dusk favor your trickery. May the Prime bless you for protecting Sister Celeste from her family, and may Dawn grant you the ingenuity to deal with those nobles. I'll just thank him. You appreciate his attentions, even if you have no faith in the false sun. Bathed in pure radiance, the streets of Carolis stroll beyond the carriage's window. Homemakers and housecats are too preoccupied with their daily affairs to look at you. Those that stare back at you will never step into a carriage like the Philadelios, nor what it's like to have a private slice of shade pulled by horses. Some are jealous, some are indifferent, others are enraged. Soon enough, the streets turn into the gargantuan northern gates, and the houses become rarer, the trees abundant. Celeste's eyes are closed on the way to the Forester's hide, and her hands collected in worship. I'm not gonna say anything. It suits her, and that's enough for you. After all, you are not the one who needs to renounce her vows of priesthood and mourning to be treated like marriage stock by her house. When the canopy turns garish with drapes, you know you have reached your destination. Remind me again what I should do about you pluck from your breast the sorry copy you made of your own invitation, of her own invitation. All right, we're sneaking in, and we don't have the skills to fake an invitation, so this is gonna be interesting. About that, for now we must wait. You don the mask. A servant will come with scraps. We are to rub them on the roll. The song played in the courtyard by the minstrels is loud enough to drown out the chirps in the trees around you, but not the eager barks of hunting dogs. When the troupe plays the Craven Mariner's Rhyme, we will leave the carriage. Be ready to let go of the invitation if you don't want to injure your hand. The dogs will be let loose in that moment. Sounds good. The servant should knock at any moment. And she does. Celeste cracks open the door of the carriage, and a hand slides in to beckon you. Give me the scroll, miss. I'll do it, says the servant. You hand her your copy and listen to the slimy, squelching sound of meat soaking the invitation. It is returned to you slightly damp with an irresistible aroma of steak. Oh my god, I can't believe we're going through with this plan. This is making me hungry, says Celeste. Sorry, I went silent there. I muted myself because Kai is scratching at the walls. Hold on. I'm gonna just be one... Oh, no, never mind. Buddy! Hold on. Okay, hopefully what I did distracted him. Okay. While you wait for the troupe to play the ode, you look out of the window. House Aquila has stolen acres of forest and tamed them into a garden. Every flag fluttering around bears the fantastical heraldry of the house, that of the haloed eagle with 4 feet and 3 pairs of wings. I'm sorry. BRB, he is not stopping, and I need him to not scratch walls because I live in an apartment. Be right back. Sorry about that. I couldn't get him to come down, but, because he's on top of my kitchen cabinets and I'm not tall enough. But hopefully I threw enough toys up there for him to distract himself and not scratch at my walls. Anyway, let us continue. Whew. Aless goes, listen, they're playing it. Aless knocks to the request the valet's assistance. When you step out of the carriage, the aroma of the invitation mixes with the refreshing scent of the forest. I hope the dogs will pick it up. Nature has been beaten into submission to turn the grove into a pleasant path. You and Aless turn heads. Is it because she came back after renouncing her title? Is it because you feel familiar, yet are lost just like the foreigner you're impersonating? A sudden scream for the forest halts the music abruptly, and you pick up the hungry frenzy of the honey dogs being let loose in the courtyard. More yells follow, but you seal your heart. You are their target. You see them charging you as a pack with their eyes on the prize, and saliva already dripping from their fangs. You let the invitation go, and it ends in the maw of one of the dogs. They step on your dress, caking it with dirt, and with gleeful hunger, they gather to tear your invitation into shreds. Aless clears her throat before letting out a rather convincing panic scream. Should we scream too? I feel like... I mean, I guess we would both shriek. If we pretend to be shocked beyond words, it could seem like, oh, no. Oh, good. Sorry, the cats just ran over my hands and I clicked the game. They're now chasing each other. The joys of being a cat mom. You cry as well and gather your skirts to assess the damage. How does one even wash velvet? Of course you need to act inconsolable, frightened and upset, all while keeping your mask on. That's the challenge. Serena, oh Serena, tell me you are not hurt, says Celeste. The commotion that follows is a frenetic string of yells, apologies, barks, and accusations. Ascanio is called to mediate, and he does so with extreme displeasure. I love Ascanio so much. The kennel master brings the dogs under control, but the damage is done. Your invitation is in their stomachs. You and Alesta are ushered into a private wing of the palace, where a servant hurriedly fixes your dresses. From there, you hear Patron Lord Aquila and Matron Lady de Lucilo loudly accuse each other of instigating the accident. Alesta still is all ears, and her shaken facade falls, replaced by impish curiosity. With the servant around, however, she can't gloat about her plan. Sylas hasn't shown herself yet. Did she tell you she would take advantage of the commotion to sneak into the private wing of the palace? Oh, she did tell you. Sorry. I thought that was going to be a question at the end. You are now presentable, Lady Fidelio, Miss Veneer. Thank you, Alesta responds. Follow me, says the servant. Just when you thought you had avoided being announced at the entrance, you are taken there. I must apologize again, Lady Fidelio, for what happened. Your fortitude in the face of tragedy is admirable, says the valet. Tragedy, my butt. The Lady of Dust does have a wicked sense of humor, Alesta responds. So I have heard, he says. The valet throws but a glance at Alesta's scroll before announcing her to the main hall. Most welcome by House Aquila, Lady Aless Jacuma Savina of House Fidelio. Aless Jacuma Savina? No wonder she insists people only call her by her first name. With a deep sigh, she collects her skirts and steps into the den of wolves. And you, miss? Must be our esteemed guest from the most excellent Republic of Dagado. You nod with a breathy smile. The vapid affectation is better than talking and seems to reassure the servant. I'm sure it must have been frightening, the attack. I pray the festivities will soothe your heart, says the valet. You curtsy to him. Most welcome by House Aquila, from the most excellent Republic of Dagado, Serena Ipsissima of House Veneer. It's your turn to collect your skirts to the side and step into the hall as well. A triumph of rich colors assaults your eyes. Shimmering brocades, feathers, and silks are impractical as they are dazzling. Gloved hands hold silver spoons to miniature cakes and raised chalices with gemstone brims. The food is extravagant, tasted only to be abandoned on a plate, unfinished. All while the people of Caerlease crowd the soup kitchens of the Temple of Dawn. Have the nobles ever gazed upon the beggars that line the twin bridges, or the vagrants with their sun-charred skin? They have made excess their way of life, yet the surrounding spectacle stirs nothing in their hearts. It's grotesque. A sea of eyes surges from the well-dressed guests of the party, now uninterested in less in favor of you, the masked foreigner. From your hair to the dress to your hands, every inch of you is examined, compared, and judged. We thrive under the attention. We're a fucking god. Somehow, your body remembers you know how to wave in the most dainty, delicate way, despite having never done so. It was the proper thing to do. Approving murmurs follow your gesture, but you ignore them and reach Alesta's side. And here I was fearing for you, since I had forgotten to tell you to wave, said Alesta. A stark age difference separates those attending to meet their future spouse and those acting as chaperones. The marriageable guests. A sizable amount of the marriageable guests, you realize, haven't seen 20 summers yet. You feel out of place, surrounded by such juvenile company. Damn! Did I really used to attend the dance every year at my age? Mm-hmm. If it consoles you, you were more interested in outdoing the other guests in the eyes of their houses rather than pursuing them, responds Alesta. Thank the ladies for that. Grim purpose rekindles the flame of outrage in you. Caerlease suffers while its rulers feast. If only the kitchens at the temple could serve a fraction of what's being prepared for the banquet. A well-dressed stranger approaches you. For a moment, you mistake him for Ascanio. His fineries are as beautiful as they are a warning, for he belongs to the halls. He bows to you, then Alest. Miss Fidelio, I take it? Lady Fidelio, responds Alest. Yes, Queen. I'm not going to say anything. This is Miss Veneer of Dagado, a dear friend. You curtsy after the introduction. Allow me to introduce myself. I am Keldranin of House Galens. Despite the formal occasion, Keldrin will suffice, Alest. She holds her breath. You are the one I am being promised to by the matron lady. He confirms her suspicions with an elegant bow. I'm here to prematurely break your heart, I'm afraid. I have always been opposed to marriages of convenience. While the union of a mage and a priestess is the kind fit for a novel, it's one I'd rather read than enact, he says. Defiance makes his easy smile even more convincing. Then we are of the same mind, Keldrin, Alest responds. Alest is as surprised as you are, and relieved, oh so relieved. She doesn't want to marry again to respect her late husband, but you wonder if Keldrin might have more concrete reasons to oppose the arrangement. You are surprisingly informal, Keldrin. Lineage matters very little in the halls, he responds. Yet mages have their own titles as well. They certainly do. Among them, my favorite is certainly Sol Invictus, the unconquered sun. His independence might be a matter of pride, you reckon. We both need to get out of this arrangement, says Alest. And without having it burn us, any suggestions, he asks? A moment of silence falls among you. Would a distraction suffice? Do you want me to unleash the dogs again? Asks Alest. Perish the thought, we respond. The real reason you joined, of course, is to bring forth the darkest hour, aka kill everyone. I might have something in mind, a scandal if you wish. Among us three, I'm the only one without anything to lose. Neither seem convinced, but Keldrin gives you the benefit of the doubt. You doggedy do like your dramatics. How is a scandal going to get us out of this arrangement? Asks Celeste. It'll have to be so grand the entire dance will be cancelled. Celeste eyes you with alarm. I need a bit of time to iron out the details. Feel free to enjoy the dance until then. I will try to. Now if you'll excuse me, I need to escape from the warden before his eyes bore 2 holes in the back of my head, says Keldrin. The warden? He bows to you both and leaves for the banquet hall, away from Ascanio's frowning. You can't be serious. I am, we respond. Are you at least going to tell me what you are planning to do? Asks Celeste. I need you to be convincingly surprised. That sounds awfully like a no. When will the hunters return? 3 to 4 hours. It depends on how successful they are, she responds. So, Lady Fidelio, what now? We could dance, although you'll need to be careful with your mask, or... The Lady of Dreams is here, screams a young woman. A young woman collects her skits in her hands to run past you, soon followed by her lavishly dressed peers. They gather around a small table covered in a silk cloth. You did hear her tell Laverna that she would attend the dance. Don't tell me you want to go to the fortune teller, says Celeste. I'm simply curious, that's all. If you must. You look around. All the suitors closer to your age are already happily dancing, while fresh-faced debutantes line the walls, trembling with excitement. Would you rather dance with someone a decade younger than you are? Ugh, lady, spare me the embarrassment, responds Celeste. She follows you. Honestly, same. Like, I'm not gonna dress with anyone like a decade younger than me at a marriage ball. Fuck no. You recognize the Lady of Dreams. She was indeed talking with Laverna, the leader of the ruffians. Is it true that I'll find love in winter? Asks the excitable noble. Did my father safely reach Ligustica? Responds the loud noble. Will my mother's dizzying spells ever be lifted? Asks the pouting noble. I love all their, like, I love NPC names, or titles, I guess I should say. The questions that ring all around the Lady of Dreams have very little to do with dreams. Fate shall answer you all, but are you ready to hear its words? Asks the Lady of Dreams. She produces a coin from a fold in her robes. The polished disc is plain, save for a single arrow etched on one side. Bewitched by the mystique of the woman, the crowd falls into a reverent silence. Alest conceals her mouth before whispering in your ear. Leaving it to luck, it's a clever way to avoid the ire of these brats. The Lady of Dreams flips the coin in the air. You have been around Sylas long enough to recognize her flick of the wrist, the subtle sign of a sleight of hand. That is not luck. She knows exactly what she's doing, we say. Among gasps and groans, the coin falls on a little side table and points at the young, loud noble who is inquiring about his father. The envy of his peers only makes the smirk more pleased. He takes a seat on the stool in front of the table, and the Lady of Dreams is quick to clutch his hand. Your father, Lord Quelia, yes? Several in the crowd nod. Their clamor had been replaced with trepidant silence. Did he visit you in your dreams? I have tried to do as you said, and thought of him before going to sleep each night. I even moved his portrait in my chambers, so that he may watch over me and tell me of his whereabouts. She clicks her mouth loudly, feigning disappointment. We sent word to Ligustica, but we haven't heard anything back, says the loud noble. The Lady of Dreams closes her eyes and begins swirling her hand in the air. Alessa leans over to whisper, I would have been the first in line some years ago. How time changes you. What does the Lady of Dusk think of fortune-telling, we ask. As long as it's innocuous. It's paid handsomely, that's all I know, we respond. The Lady of Dreams is still stalling for time. The nobleman said his father had left for Ligustica. He would have been following a route that coursed right above the Siren's Cove, and if he was leaving Caerlease instead of returning... When did your father depart? You dare to speak up and break the silence. Several faces turn towards you. You do your best to ignore Alessa's elbow on your side. Miss, please wait for your turn like everybody else. We weren't asking for us. The loudmouth noble ignores you. Fine. I mean, we could enthrall him. It's not worth it. We're just gonna not say anything. The other nobles whisper among themselves. Your mask protects you as much as it intrigues them. Why did you want to know? Asked Alessa. It's a little test. Is the Lady of Dreams shrewd enough to remember the attacks? She seems to have dismissed your question already. Here, here. She produces a wax tablet with a short, ornate stick and instructs him to etch rows of dots. Geomancy, she calls it. The Lady of Dreams extracts figures with old and Anisitan names from the nonsense and creates more in a process you don't follow until she gasps. Look at the judge, Caput Draconis. Your father, Sir Qualia, must be overwhelmed by the prosperity of a new business, so much so he has forgotten to write. You do your best to contain a disdainful snort. She sells hope of the dullest kind to the most extravagant people. The young loudmouth noble doesn't probe or question her. He can barely contain his excitement at the news. Rosalia, come. With fortune on the horizon, I must ask for your hand. Oh, Andreas, says the pouting noble. The two run off in a quaint display of youthful passion. As for the Lady of Dreams, she's looking right at you. You are a danger to her, that much you both understand, and she will do her best to avoid engaging you. Under the mask, you allow yourself to smirk. Like bells, the countless charms on her person chime to command the attention of her audience. My heart swells with the sanctity of a new revelation. She shows her coin again, the one with the arrow. Who shall be the blessed one to receive it? Not you, observer some more. You are in no hurry after all. You can wait until you are the last one left. The Lady of Dream tosses her coin in the air, and mid-flight, your breath is knocked out of your lungs. The coin shimmers as if catching the light of the sun, and when it clatters onto her table. Aw, why her? Asks the excitable noble. It's pointing right at you. The Lady of Dreams is as surprised by the result as you are. The shimmer of the light, that overwhelming sensation. Magic, perhaps? Who could have cast it? You quickly look around, but don't see the telltale blue of the hall's uniform anywhere. Serena, are you sure? Asked Celeste. Of course. You compose yourself and take a seat on the stool in front of the Lady of Dreams, who's powerless to stop you. My dear, I have told the fortunes of many, but never of a masked Dogody. The mask stays on. As it is customary, yes, the Lady of Dreams responds. She cannot read your expression with your face concealed. Fate wanted us to talk, my dear, because something must be ailing you. You might as well play along for a while to let her drop her defenses. Be it love, health, or coin, do tell me, and I'll be happy to peer into your future. Alright, so we can terrorize the Laverna's leader. Come here for love. My health troubles me. Matter of the coin brought me to you. We're gonna say love, because I'm so curious to see what she says about Sylas. But of course, the sweetest of pangs, the most searing of burns, and the blackest of vengeance. A curious tilt of your head is all she gets. From beneath the mask, you smile, unwilling to give her a hint on which to hook her spectacle. Have your dreams been different ever since you arrived in Caerlease? I must compliment you on your accent. It is nearly native. This bitch. My thank you. As for my dreams, I can hardly remember them in the morning, we respond. If only you could dream. Fret not. Despite my name, I am an apt geomancer, as you have already witnessed. She turns from lost to driven and flips the wax board previously used by the young man. However, this art is fastidiously precise. I will need a question from you. A single sentence. If she can't extract information from you, she will have you provide it. So what is it that you wish to know? Will she ever embrace change instead of being terrified by it? Has she ever... The Lady of Dream asks, has she ever been allowed to see change as a force of good? She sounds so kind, but her eyes are sharp like steel and focused on yours, reading every subtle change. Ah, I shouldn't have pried. Forgive me. Even with your mask on, she understood what you tried to conceal. Let us glimpse into the future. She hands you a blunt stick. You do as a young man before you did. You produce rows of dots. She counts them quickly and turns them into symbols, encased in a diagram and multiplied by each other. The process escapes you, but you hear excited whispers from the audience. Consider the judge, Albus. She points at the last figure produced. It is a weak figure by itself and depends wholly on those that surround it. To thrive, it needs to be supported. She smiles. Change is terrifying. Show her it doesn't have to be, and she will be able to embrace it. Thank you, we respond. You decide to leave her with some parting words of your own, knowing that her kindness is a farce. A song has been stuck in my mind ever since I arrived here. Do not fear the Laverna, it goes. Indeed, I do not fear you. I pity you. A Laverna? Asked the excitable noble. Deep shadows circle her eyes, hurricanes of fear. She thought she'd be safe. She thought her ruse was ironclad. Hearing her secret name spoken plain grips her heart in an iron-cold grip. Smile and leave. She wants to scream. She wants to yell at you. Rip your mask away. Know who you are. Who could betray her? You don't give her the satisfaction. As a small audience swarms her with concern, outrage, and accusations, you leave the chamber with a concerned Alest in tow. You made her squirm. The Lady of Dusk condemns cruelty, but that was deserved. Although, I have to ask, why? Because it's as you said, she deserved it, we simply respond. You find a quiet corner away from prying eyes and remove your mask. I wish I could hide somewhere. Anywhere. I hate this, says Alest. She pinches the skirt of her dress. It reminds me of who I used to be, before the Lady of Dusk opened my eyes. Can't we go outside and get some fresh air, we ask? And be hounded by the Aquila's valets? I'd rather avoid the banquet hall too. All the heads of the houses are in there. Would my quote-unquote brother also be there? Gualtiero? Certainly. Double the reason not to go there. You can't fool family as easily as acquaintances. That leaves the dance hall, I'm afraid. Or this wonderful hallway, responds Alest. If only I didn't suffer from poor circulation, I'd stay here all day long. Alas, I must sit down. I could bring you a stool. You could even get away with it. Doggedy eccentricity, A scratching sound from inside the wall startles you. Did you hear that? Asks Alest. Do the Aquilas have mice? I'll ignore that, says Sylas. My wifey! Sylas' hand parts the decorative drape on the wall, and she reveals herself in all her disguised glory. It's your first time seeing her look so dainty and clearly uncomfortable. I didn't know the Aquilas could afford servant passages for their summer villa, said Alest. You press 2 fingers on your lips, kiss them, then brush them against Sylas' cheek. Already flaming hot. Aww! You look... The dress is very... She chuckles weakly, bewitched by your appearance. But the mask is creepy. It hides your beautiful face, says Sylas. The mask is creepy. Everyone's like, wow, what a pretty mask. And I'm like, that's a weird-ass mask. Now it's your turn to blush. How's the gig going? Quite well. I'm mapping out the place. Did you know there are baths with fresh water? Asked Sylas. There's supposed to be a natural spring nearby, responds Alest. Alest looks wearily at Sylas' scar. You must be Sylas, our dear Serena Ipsimia's beloved. Sylas snorts at the name. Nice to meet ya. Alest, yeah? Alest nods, still transfixed over Sylas' proof of allegiance to the Laverna. A young couple chooses that moment to stumble into the hallway, and Sylas jumps behind the drape to hide herself. You cover your face with haste. Oh dear, it seems we cannot get a minute for ourselves, dear Aleste. Your loud comment is rewarded by the couple's glares. They scuttle away, in search of a corner of their own. You forgot the accent, said Sylas. Again. With a less seconds. Sylas, did you find any good hiding spots in the servants' quarters? Plenty of them, yeah. Some rooms are still being worked on. Others are barred but still accessible through the walls. According to Marinette, House Aquila added an entire wing to the villa overnight, thanks to the halls. Why? Do you already want to leave the party? Sylas asks. Please. That's music to her ears. With a grin, she gestures for you to follow her, and you disappear behind the drape into a dark, cramped passage. You feel out of place in the kitchens. Servants stir pots and chop herbs, peel fruit and tenderize meat. Delicious aromas clash with each other, the sweetness of cakes against the savory stews, the freshness of fruit against the mellowness of wine. Ah, missus, ladies, what are you doing here? Asks the servant. At ease, they're hiding, responds Sylas. Hiding? Could I help you with anything? I'm good at whisking, asks Aleste. Several cooks arch eyebrows and make faces, but dare not object. Aleste is given a stool, a bowl, and a whisk, and she happily gets to work. I didn't know you cooked. I learned how at the temple. Everyone needs to pull their own weight there, says Aleste. Something feels off about the kitchens. The walls still bear the original color of plaster. The tables have no nicks, and the floor has no stool scratches. You notice it too. Sylas takes a scroll out of her pocket and unrolls it with flair. This room wasn't here a fortnight ago. We're in the new wing. Smirking like the cat that got the cream, she shows you the map she drew of the villa. Bathroom, Dunsall, kitchen. Every room is given a name in her shaky handwriting. You never taught her how to spell, only how to write individual letters. Aww. What a pinch those adorable cheeks of yours. You kept up with writing. What did you use before learning how to write? What if someone finds it? Kept up with writing. Of course I did. I want to be good at it, so I can replace what's in your locket with something written by me. Aw, Sylas. Your poor heart can't handle her glowing pride at her effort. Overcome with tenderness, you pull her into an embrace. What's this for? She asks. Her effort is the proof that she can be free of the Laverna, free of their bonds. Like her, countless others are trapped in a life of crime they never asked for, waiting for you, waiting for the darkest hour. The toppling of the false sun and the death of the tyrants that rule the city from the citadel and the shadows. Sylas worships the goddess as a true believer. Will she still love you when you denounce her beloved ladies as liars? What's gotten into you? Sylas asks. Nothing, we respond. You give her a feather-light peck on her forehead. There must be another way. You settle in with her and ask for something to do as well. You are given cherries to divide into 2 piles. The ones to put on cakes and the others to be thrown away. Thrown away? Asked Sylas. We are to remove the pits and give them to the dogs. What? You look down at the bowl with the discarded cherries, plump and dark save for a few discolored spots, a tear in the skin, and irregular shape. We are not allowed to eat them. Food is taken out, but nothing is brought back in. Are all leftovers given to the dogs while there are people toiling out of sight to keep the banquet hall well supplied? Like a sick rose, the abyss of the people around you parts to reveal. Underneath their resignation, rage. It is how it is, they feel. Their rage is your rage. You need to make things right. What separates the nobles from the servants is a single wall. Those on the side cook delicacies they will never taste, while those on the opposite let the extravagant food spoil and go to the dogs. Hidden passages to keep those in service concealed from sight, lest they offend the nobles with their presence. Without their efforts, would there even be a dance? The mask! At Sylas' urging, you don the mask once more. A grim-faced sentinel walks in from one of the passages. But, Mrs., what are you doing here? It's Doggedy custom to thank the head of the house by preparing a meal, says Aleste. This girl is so used to lying. She really was a noble. She's like, I may be a priestess of the Lady of Dusk, but like I can lie my ass off. It's fine. You draw attention to yourself with a sitting curtsy. Of course, I'm sure the matron lady will be ecstatic to know that her esteemed guest is going to such lengths, he responds. Distraught, he surveys the kitchens. I don't imagine you have seen Lady Qualia's perfumer. The servants don't say anything, but they all look to a corner where a modestly dressed woman is sitting on her lonesome. You do not even notice her from how small she was making herself. Oh. Lord Vieri has requested you. Such a mundane request has a chilling effect on the room. Everybody looks away from the woman, some with pity, others with guilt. Unless stool scratches on the floor, she is not looking away. You do look like his daughter. The woman hangs her head in shame. Lady Fidelio, please, I beg you to carefully choose your words to honor the most esteemed lineage of Lord Vieri. This sounds like an exceedingly polite warning. Why? Sylas leans over to whisper something in your ear. Lord Vieri's a creep. He has a thing for his daughters. Oh my god, gross. That's horrible. How do you know? We ask. Everybody knows, responds Sylas. Everybody knows, and yet nobody says anything. But he's up there with the Legrandes when it comes to title. This woman is summoned to his presence because she has the misfortune of looking like his own blood, and...
Dost be my witness? Have I not been silent enough in my life?
Heck yeah, Aless. You go, queen. I love you. Aless stomps in front of the perfumer and shields her from view.
If Lord Vieri wishes to see this perfumer, do tell him that he must pry her from the cold, dead hands of Lady Fidelio.
Heck yeah! Freaking love Aless. Best character in this game overall. The sentinel stares at the trembling woman concealed behind Aless' dress.
Do I need to repeat myself?
No, Lady Fidelio.
He bows to her, then to you, before turning on his heels. As soon as he leaves, the perfumer allows herself to sob. With a sigh, Aless pulls out a handkerchief from her breast and hands it to the weeping woman. Exchange a glance with Sylas. I hope she knows that Stuffy Pants over there ran back to the matron lady. I am well aware. At this time, I could not care less, says Aless. Ablaze with righteousness, her spirit is as steely as it is short-sighted, you are afraid. Thank you. Lady Fidelio, was it? Asked the perfumer. Aless will suffice. A dark shadow beckons you from the corner of your eye. Is it time? With a weight in your chest, you take Sylas' hand and kiss it. Hey, what's that for? I will be right back. Sylas, keep an eye on Aless for me. A friend of yours is a friend of mine, she responds. With the mask tightly clutched in your hand, you collect your skirts and follow the shadow. Inside the servant passages, darkness conspires with darkness. Shapes emerge from the bare bricks of the walls and the drapes that conceal exits. The shadow slithers under one such drape, dying in the light that filters underneath. A strange smell comes from beyond, that of fresh paint. You emerge into a room flooded with light. The frescoes on the walls are in various stages of completion, and a small table on the far end is heavy with painting supplies. A lone figure is waiting for you, cut like a shadow from the brightness, Ascanio.
You?
It's always been me.
What? He removes his spectacles to hang them on his belt. Without the tinted lenses, his eyes are a mirror of yours. The fourth envoy! We finally found them!
The prodigal one rejects, robs, undermines. No more. Envoy of the Abyss, voice of its will. The prodigal one shall cower before your frenzied splendor.
Ugh.
Enough.
And with that, as we're going to start any second, so I'm going to BRB to drink some water, rest my voice a little bit, and we shall be back in a couple minutes. Thank you for your time, and I will see you soon. Bye. welcome back. I missed you. I hope you had a good break. Let us continue this tantalizing revelation. The throes of the abyss are replaced by Ascania's voice, and you are pulled out of the darkest spires of your mind to find yourself in front of him. The prodigal one, the ancient envoy that predates Autry, the blasphemer behind the false sun, is Ascanio? He's been under your nose the whole time.
You are the prodigal one?
That is what the Abyss calls me. Yes.
He's so casual about it. Like, yeah, you're not wrong. Your thoughts are in disarray as questions, accusations, observations pile on each other, each more urgent than the last. Now you understand why you were granted shelter at the refrain, so he could keep watch over you. And what of your exchanges by moonlight? Were they not his attempts to... No, he never tried to convince you of anything.
I'm suppressing the shadows around us, lest you are overcome by the frenzy of the darkest hour as we speak.
Why are you here? You must know what the Abyss wants from me. The darkest hour, the undoing of all your work.
So you say. But I have seen what you cherish, what the Abyss calls the false sun. What you truly want is not a massacre, but hope.
I think she's gonna say the line.
Must it happen
Oh,
through
never mind.
frenzied violence? You are better than the tyrant the Abyss wants you to be.
Have you not secretly hoped for another way all this time? Now that it presents itself to you.
Fine. I'll hear you out. Why do you refuse? No. Oppose it.
Death engorges the Abyss with souls, and each one of them loses their essence and becomes part of the Abyss. Much like a drop of silver would lose itself in the sea. The innocent soul of a stillborn has the same worth of that as a murderer.
Damn. He can barely contain a snarl.
A victim will never escape their violator. They will meet again in the Abyss.
Oh, so they do
Become
all
one.
become combined.
Doesn't
Ooh.
it sicken you?
It certainly gives you pause.
There's no justice under the Abyss's tyranny. No heavens reward the virtuous. No eternal punishment awaits the wicked in the hells. Can you imagine what Karolise would have been without the goddess?
Not much different from any other land ruled by envoys.
Mortals deserve to rule themselves. The Abyss slithers in hunger, so the Temple of Dawn establishes soup kitchens. It feeds on the pain of childbirth, so the Temple of the Prime begins cultivating herbs that save mothers. The Abyss festers in death, so dusk steals grisly demises and turns them into somber quietness.
It's mortals who act so charitably, so selflessly, all while singing of hope and justice. You've given them hope.
The heavens are a reward, just as the hells are. We are envoys. Our task has always been that of shepherding mortals, guiding them, making them flourish. But I couldn't do that in the name of the Abyss. The mortals were eager to pour faith out of their hearts, and chose the goddess.
A lie you created.
His snarl loses its edge, and his confidence shows itself for the farce it is. A deep, ancient sorrow emerges from the abyss within him like an unearthed root.
There was a time when I was blissfully complacent and ignorant of grief. I had a wife and a lovely daughter.
He told you about them.
Tessa, your daughter, and Marla.
You remembered?
He sounds so touched. Like, yes, I'm gonna remember you when you share something so traumatic.
You must have thought Tessa died a baby. But no. She was a few days shy of her 23rd summer when...
Even after all this time, his eyes glisten with tears.
She was a brilliant young woman. So much so that she impressed the masters of Oriani, who invited her to study the night sky under their guidance.
The lines of his face are hard, bracing. You know his story has no happy ending.
One day she returned home with a young man. Her beloved told us she was with child, but something was terribly wrong. She was stiff, bleeding heavily, barely able to walk.
The shadows around him stretched like maws to feed off his fury.
It was killing her. And back then there were no herbs that could flush out the child. No way to save her that wouldn't butcher her. My blood was barely enough to sustain her. There was nothing I could do. She passed away in my Marla's arms. And when she did, the shadows that had always accompanied me drowned her in the embrace of the abyss.
His fury burns hot, and his words boil with it.
Imagine seeing the soul of your daughter become a drop in the sea. Imagine seeing wretches and violators flow in the shadows next to her.
Every word of his slams the shadows away, and yet they return to him hungrier still.
I wouldn't wish this pain upon anybody. Yet it has been mine for more years than I can count.
The Abyss loves his suffering, adores his pain, cherishes his rage. It's what has sustained Ascanio for the past centuries. Raw and ever burning, ever severed from it as you are, you can feel it.
She deserved a place in the sky, among the stars she loved. But the Abyss robbed her of that, and took her away to merge with the rabble.
Aww. He is left seething, with droplets of blood falling from his hands where his fingernails dug too deep.
The Abyss is violence, hunger, pain, vengeance. But Carolise can be different. Is it a crime to nurture hope and wish for peace?
Mortal souls still return to the Abyss, goddess or not.
I have tried to find ways to cut souls from the Abyss, but it's been all for naught. For my accursed blood belongs to it too. I cannot make the heavens real, but the ladies could walk among the mortals.
What are you saying?
3 you are, just like them. Dawn, the Prime, and Dusk.
I wonder why he never made a 4. Like, there's 4 envoys, just make 4 ladies. I mean, 3 is a better number, it's the Holy Trinity, but...
What the Abyss wants from you.
I mean, 3 is also
To
my
be
favorite
its
number, so I'm
wielder
automatically going to
of
say
the
it's better than
scales
4.
and the sword. I want as well.
I love the
In
number
the name
3.
of the goddess.
And without family
Why
dress.
not? He'd look amazing in it.
Scottio, please.
You can't be serious.
There's no need for carnage to bring forth a better future.
When you close your eyes, your heart throbs with the call of the darkest hour. Underneath their charitable veneer, the mortals crave the frenzy change only you can offer. The darkest hour, a bloodbath of nobles and Laverna, the toppling of the false temples, a new dawn as the goddess, or mortality. Your decision will determine your fate and that of the city. Choose carefully. Oh, let me save. Let me save. I'm so fucked. We're surrendering to the darkest hour. I don't know what the right answer is because, like, obviously not this one. We're not murdering people. This will make me immortal, so I will lose Sylas. But this one, I will be mortal. But the city could die, but then I'd be dead by then, right? I saved, so I guess we'll see. I never asked for any of this. I want to become mortal. A simple life with Sylas is all you wish for. Magic be damned. Ascanio's eyes turned wide, almost lost.
I thought the same in the beginning. Then the allure of immortality won me over. I will keep the shadows suppressed around you, lest the Abyss assaults you again.
Oh, thank you, Ascanio.
Farewell.
I love how he doesn't beg. He's just like, I respect your decision. His form loses its edge, then its shape. You blink and he's gone. Without your powers, there will be no darkest hour. And if you are to throw away what makes you an envoy, does it even matter? I mean, the Abyss, I'm sure, is just going to create a new envoy. But that's a problem for another day. Concealed once again by your mask, you return to the main hall of the villa. So long as the shadows remain inert around you, you are unable to call Autry for help. The whispers say the Queen of the Woods is locked in a deadly dance with her hunters. The hunting parties will soon return with their slain prey, commanding the attention of all guests. Such a spectacle is no match for the glory of the Abyss. You ignore the soul's plea. The darkest hour will never come to be, for you have no interest in pursuing power. You approach a wall and discreetly search for the drape that conceals the servant's passage. Found it. Once you are sure nobody's looking, you slip inside. The corridor is cramped, and your dress catches in the bricks of the round wall. Light comes from a corner. When you round it, you return to the busy kitchens. Alessa and the performer are gone. You're back, says Sylas. So long as the Laverna control the city from the shadows, you cannot give Sylas the freedom she deserves to live a quiet life with you. The darkest hour might not come to be, but that doesn't mean you can't stop fighting. Where did Alessa go? She left to put the perfumer in a carriage. You have failed her. You cannot stop the Queen's dance. You cannot do anything to break off her engagement. I came here to get the matron lady off her case. You did, didn't you? She's not in the stuffy ballroom being forced to dance. But when she returns there, she beckons you closer to whisper, I found a hidden exit in the back that leads to the forest. If you want to bolt out of here, Alessa took it as well. Your heels and dress were not meant for the woods, but what other choice do you have? Thank you, Sylas. Don't tell me you're staying. I have to, she responds. The scar on her lips stretch when she smiles sadly. You thank the servants for letting you find refuge in their quarters. May dusk avert her eyes from you and your loved ones. The passage is cramped and dark. The air is stale and musty, but when Sylas opens the small door at the end, the freshness of the forest tickles your nostrils. There you are, says Alessa. Alessa wades through the roots and grass with her skirts raised. Our carriage left with the perfumer. I could not let her stay the night. You have failed the Abyss, failed Autry and Alphion, failed Alessa. Without the mask to conceal your face, you can't hide your tears. I need to leave. I couldn't help you, Alessa, but if you come with me... On foot? If you circle the villa, you don't have to walk long to find the path back. You can't fight and refuse to stay, and so you run. A pang makes your heart ache when you think of the journey's destination, the refrain. Would Ascanio even let you stay there? Sylas wipes her tears away and leaves a kiss on each eyelid. I'll see you tomorrow. Caught between her duty at the dance and the allure of an escape, Alessa nods and takes her side. I'm coming with you. You gather your skirts and begin walking. A carpet of dead leaves covers the ground. Overhead, the birds sing to each other in a choppy chorus of chirps and trills. The canopy sways in a song of its own, verdant and rustling. You're quiet, Leatrice. I'm simply tired. We respond. Just half a mile more of dirt, rocks, and root on heels, and the rest will be a level path. The farther away you walk from the villa, the deeper the shadows grow, until they animate under your very eyes, eager to serve you again. While comforting, their presence is a painful reminder of your choice to refuse them. The matron lady will be furious when she realizes I have left, and I'm afraid she will retaliate. Perhaps I should hide my sister in the refrain. I'm so sorry. Don't be. Ours was a silly gambit. Honestly, I'm surprised you managed to attend in the first place, responds Alessa. The walk back is grueling on foot, with heels and heavy skirts that slow you down. You don't talk much, focused as you are on your destination. Once the gates of the city are in sight, the shadows turn. Pitch black, your vision dims, a voice roars in your mind. Such a spectacle is no match for the glory of the Abyss. A soul, power to be, rips itself away from you much like a scab would, but it cannot exist outside of you, outside the Abyss. It wanes, disperses like ashes in the wind, and your vision returns to you through a pounding ache in your eyes. A fainting spell? It has already passed, we respond. Guards stop you at the gates, but a less imperious tone lets you pass. These poor guards, every time we get to the gate, they're like, what the fuck? And then they're like, shit, never mind. Will you even be welcome at the guest house? Your clothes are inside. You could enter one last time to retrieve them. Brother Mattia is waiting for you on the stairs. It takes him only one look to understand that nothing is planned, and you're grateful for his understanding silence. Sylas does not come back that night, and you only have Miss Sinister to comfort you with her fuzzy presence. Morning comes, and with it a grim determination. While the Laverna roam unchallenged, Sylas will never be free. The first thing you do is open your brooch to give the portrait of Sylas a kiss. You decide to leave her precious gift safe at home. You dress yourself and head to the refrain. Ascanio announces his presence with 2 knocks on your door. I will aid you in your wish to become mortal, he says. You will? It takes great fortitude to reject immortality and its vile promises. A smile tugs at the corner of his mouth. 2 souls stay in your shadow still. One wants you to determine the fate of the Laverna. The other? It wants me to set the mages of the hall free. I can take you there once the Laverna are dealt with. You're coming with me? Given the power you lost by rejecting the Abyss, it's probably for the best. Fret not, I will stay within the shadows and only aid you if necessary. You have robbed the Laverna of their secrecy, their most lethal weapon, but do be careful still. I've seen their leader and know how to reach her. What do you intend to do with them? What can you do, knowing you will become mortal, vulnerable shortly after? I want to kill the one that leads them, her lieutenants too. That should neuter them enough. Death is not something I administer lightly, but I cannot deny its effectiveness, he responds. We'll use the shadows to infiltrate their cove. You close your eyes and surrender to the darkness that light creates. Your body ceases to exist, welcomed by the eager shadows. Among them, you are pure thought, free and unbridled. You can sense Ascania within the darkness, close yet distant all the same. Together, you slither across the cobblestones, climb walls, and spill onto leaves and branches. The shadows pool in crevices, and you jump from one to another as quickly as your mind allows. You head to the courtyard with a suspiciously plain door. Sounds come from the other doors, the clacking of spoons on pans, yawns, prayers, while only deadly silence awaits beyond the Laverna's accursed entrance. You slide into the small gap underneath to be welcomed by pure darkness. The spiraling staircase carved into the soft rock is familiar to you, and so are the tunnels and their iron bars. Despite the early hour, the Laverna keep their space patrolled. The guards are hopelessly bored. One is sharpening her dagger, another's carving a statuette out of a large bone. Hope that's not a human bone. You ignore them and jump from shadow to shadow. You're not familiar enough with the layout of the maze to find the way on your first try. But it doesn't take long either. Ascanio's thoughts mingle with yours for a brief moment. He's impressed at the sophistication of the hideout. If you weren't within the shadows, the maze, jail bars, and guards would have been excellent deterrents. The cove itself is surprisingly quiet. 2 guards stroll from brazier to brazier, speaking in hushed tones. Only a few lamps are lit inside the tents at the center of the cavern, where the lieutenants rest in comfort, and not on the bare rock like the rooks curled in the alcoves. You expected more of them to be awake by this time. Will Laverna herself also be defenseless in her slumber? You won't have your powers for long. Should you use them now that you have the chance? I've always spared them before, but if we're gonna be mortal, probably kill them. Man, I'm such a murderer. You slither towards the tents. Javadian carpets, Illyrian pitchers, plush pillows, and ornate brocade. The Laverna's lieutenants revel in stolen luxury. You wait for 2 guards to pass before asking the shadows to bring you back into the physical world. Ascanio takes your side with a frown. The shadows cling to him like desperate lovers, sinking their claws into his flesh with tenderness. You wish to bring them death. His whisper strips away any hint of emotion from his voice. I take it you disapprove? His eyes lower. My propensity for an action has let these pests fester for too long. I trust your judgment. Everyone just trusts me. By the way, I'm only a few weeks old. Maybe like a month old. 2 months old, at most. And everyone's just like, yeah, I trust your decision. Like, I fucked up. Obviously, I'm not a saint. I'm not perfect. Go ahead. Make the decision. And I'm just like, I'm 2 months fucking old. But okay. He returns to the shadows, leaving you to your grim dealings. We're gonna make it painless, crush their hearts from within. The guards are on the opposite side of the cavern. If you can't hear their footsteps, they shouldn't be able to hear you. Silent as the night, you approach your first victim, a young man with a spotty beard. Roused by your presence, the shadow he casts come alive. The image they paint of him is that of a murderer who has lost delight in death, whose heart has been dulled. Gone is the sacredness of his life, lost in his eyes, and at such a young age too. You sink your hand into the shadows, dissolving it. You know the perfect place to reform it, around his art. In the darkness of his innards, nestled underneath his ribcage, your hand returns material, closed in a fist around his heart. Oh my god! So her hand, I thought, when it said, oh, crush the heart with shadows, I just meant like, I just thought the shadows would do it, not, oh, we're gonna stick our hand magically in his chest and physically, we're physically squeezing his heart. Ooh, grody. It's fleshy and warm, still throbbing with life. Oh my god. Your fingers sink into the muscles, ripping it to pieces. Ugh. He dies in a single silent convulsion, and you track your hand, dyed crimson with his fresh blood. The abyss welcomes his soul, folds it into itself. If the heavens and hells were real, you know where he would have gone, and he's not the only one that needs to meet the end. Dead, most of them, the shadows love your methodical murder. Damn. They swell around you, feeding on your conflicted feelings. You are brutally talented at the art of death for someone who will refuse it all. Ascani emerges from the shadows, silent, somber. Reflected in his eyes are the lifeless limbs of those you slaughtered. He traces the symbol of the Lady of Dusk in the air, one for each, then helps you close their eyes. With their numbers culled, the shadows welcome you once more in their mist. You head to Laverna's private chambers. The entrance to the small cave is flanked on either side by guards with heavy limbs and sleepy eyes. The desecrated statue by the throne captures a silent scream. Concealed from sight, you take a moment to study it. Who could have it depicted before? A dagger flies out of the room, slicing the air to spear the ground right where you are. Even Ascania is surprised. Laverna emerges from her bedchambers with bloodshot eyes and several more daggers in her vest. Something is different about her. She looks worse for wear.
Must you skulk in the shadows instead of showing yourself?
A wine-stained chalice rolls out from under the drape. The darkness coalesces into your shape, and you stop the rolling chalice with your foot. When you raise your eyes to meet hers, Laverna's expression is exhilarating. The abyss within her is a vortex of anger, fear, and confusion. You look nothing like a monster, but appearances are deceiving. She's proof of that herself.
You look familiar. Why? Where have I seen you before?
It doesn't matter. Why do you think I'm here?
She scoffs. The knuckles around the dagger turn pale as her grip grows more vicious.
Good question. Why would you slither in the dirt like a snake?
Takes one to know one.
If you didn't burrow like a worm, I wouldn't have to come down here.
Worm? Pest? Vermin? I've been called worse.
Her grimace makes her pale eye look crazed.
You're here, misguided girl, because you think my death will change anything. Ha!
I know it will.
The city has already changed. It knows of the Laverna. Your secrecy is no more.
Naive of you to think that secrets are our only strength. Without me, the Laverna will fall into disarray. Factions will arise, and they won't fight here, no. They will make the streets their battlefield until a new leader arises.
I will kill them all before they dare step outside.
From within the shadows, Ascanio expresses his discontent.
Do that, and you'll prove me right.
She calls the Laverna her people, but doesn't see them as such. They could very well be sharp daggers in her eyes. Life has lost its sacredness in her eyes, and that's why the abyss she understands so deeply is repulsed by her.
Before I kill you, humor me. The priests you abducted and tortured. What did they ever do to you?
The Laverna and the false son have always had an intimate relationship. One a handful of priestlings should not have concerned themselves with. The false son gave us the graveyard, pillow houses, and fresh mines to mould to my aunt's consent.
Damn. Ascanio's listening to this too.
Have you no shame?
I discarded that a long time ago. I won't go down without a fight. And even in death, I will haunt you until you draw your last breath.
Oh yeah, good luck with that. Now that the people of Caerlease know of the Laverna, they won't allow those scoundrels to fight in the streets. Laverna clicks her tongue. It's the only warning she gives you before lunging towards you with her knife drawn. It was a feint, and the dagger leaves her hand to slice through the air, thrown despite never being meant for it. The weapon does graze and draw blood, however, and the darkness loves your pain. Like whips, the shadows coil around her limbs, searing her skin. Mid-lunge and restrained, she loses her balance, but your magic keeps her upright, with her arm outstretched to injure you.
You can't even give me a fair fight.
I don't owe you one.
The shadows are eager to exact their revenge on her, empty her lungs, pry her teeth out, strip her tongue of wetness, twist the veins inside her in pretty braids. You let them. She falls to the ground like a bag of flesh whose contents have been ripped and rearranged. Her soul gurgles out of her lips, disdainful of you for one last moment before dissipating into the abyss. This is the power you are renouncing. Ascanio emerges from the shadows and kneels by Laverna's corpse. After uttering a short prayer, Ascanio closes her eyes. Now that she is gone, what of the survivors? I should be safe from their wrath. None has seen me kill her. They'll slaughter each other, warring for power. Laverna's fate is sealed. Abyssal power courses through your veins, invigorating, addictive. You, who set your sights on mortality, please the abyss with your deeds. You brought death onto the perfected one, bathed in its truth, yet blind to its glory. All returns to the abyss. We'll do the final enthrall mind. The stench of death is beginning to seep out of her fresh corpse. To the halls, says Ascanio. The waterfall that serves as the door for the halls spills its glittering bounty onto the square, where gentle waves shining like glass hide the nothingness underneath them. The halls are Ascanio's home, yet he feels out of place in them, austere where they are decadently lavish.
Once we walk in,
He regards you from the corner of his eye.
once the last soul escapes you, you will fall into the deepest darkness. There you will exchange your magic for mortality.
Will there be another envoy after me?
Of course. The abyss is still enamored with the darkest hour, and the carnage it will unleash. We should go.
He's the first to slice through the waterfall with his arm. The water splashes all over, yet it does not wet his clothes, 1 second after he is gone. The first step is purification. You squeeze your eyes shut and walk through the waterfall, an illusion that does not wet your face or flood your ears with water. A perfect blue sky welcomes you atop a golden wheat field. You have been to the farmlands. You have seen what a real field is like, and it's nothing like the sterile beauty of the fields of ignorance. That was the name.
What would freedom taste like to the pet birds, jailed in a gilded cage?
The last whisper awaits your answer with trepidation, and you assert your will out loud.
So long as the halls stand, no mage will be free from their burden.
As soon as the last word leaves your lips, a blood-curdling scream deafens you, confronted with the inevitability of your choice. The last soul rips from you, and with it, your last defenses against the abyss crumble. Sacred nothingness surrounds you. With your senses absent, you are left to drift in the void. You are alone, yet you know you are floating among the countless souls. Time loses its meaning. Your thoughts stretch for minutes or hours. You don't know. Perhaps you're outside of time.
Harbinger of the darkest hour. You refuse its call to become the very thing you are meant to shepherd.
I do. I want to become mortal. I want to grow old with Sylas.
Thus you have spoken.
Lulled by the warmth around you, you change. The heart that was frozen in time right after its last beat pumps blood once again. Out of breath, you gasp for air and finally feel how wonderful it is to fill your lungs. Wait, we were not breathing this whole time? What? I mean, I knew we were frozen in time, but I didn't think our heart was, like, not beating or, like, our lungs weren't working? Damn. You hear the drumming of your heart in your ears and your tongue against your palate. Tears fill your eyes and they make your nose feel warm. You're alive. Cradled by the abyss like a newborn, you open your eyes to find yourself on the ground, surrounded by the golden wheat of the halls. You barely have the time to soak in your surroundings before the wind is knocked out of your lungs.
Curses!
With a cry, you writhe on the ground, struggling to push yourself back up. Ascanio grabs your shoulder, and in a blink, you're transported outside the halls. The force that was overwhelming you is gone as quickly as it came.
I should have known the wards would activate once you've succeeded.
I am alive. That's all I wished for.
You should tell Atri and Alpheon.
Even if I refuse to say anything, Alpheon will know that you are the prodigal one.
Will he act on the information?
Probably not.
Farewell. The refrain will always be open to you.
Oh, he's so sweet. He bows and steps back into the waterfall. Before you return to Sylas' side, there's one last thing you must do. You retreat within your thoughts. Autry. From the dark shadows underneath the waters, Alphion and Autry emerge to come to your side. It takes them only a look to understand what happened.
That's why we didn't hear anything about the Darkest Tower.
Autry pulls you into an embrace, and her skin is cold like yours used to be.
It takes a strong spirit, much stronger than mine will ever be, to reject the abyss for mortality. I had no idea this was your intention.
I know, love makes fools of us all. A thought that sounds just like his voice gently slides among yours. Forgive me for prying. It's much easier now that you are mortal. I will keep Ascanio's secret safe from Autry's fist. Thank you, Alphion. You smile. Just like I thought you would.
Autry, I thought you would be mad at me. The darkest hour.
The Darkest Hour will still come. But it won't be brought by you.
She smiles.
Look at the bright side. If you regret your choice, you won't have to live with the consequences until the end of times like we do.
He's like, you'll die before you see anything happen. Don't worry about it. Freaking love Alphion too. The men in this game are fucking funny.
Alfie!
What? I'm just trying to lighten the mood. She has a lover to come home to. We shouldn't hound her too much.
Exactly. I need to get to my wifey.
Thank you for everything.
This is not a farewell. You are still in my protection.
Aw, Autry.
And I guess the doors of the Rose are always open, if you want to stop by and catch up.
Of course, you're going back to your instrument.
You part from them with a laugh. Without the shadows to guide you, you are free to seize the day as you wish, and what a beautiful one it is. Thus begins your new life as a mortal. Brother Mattia never sees the city flourish under the goddess's light. Upon his return to the Temple of Dawn, a rogue faction of the warring Laverna recognizes him and honors their old leader's orders. No! Forced to return to House Fidelio, Aless stages her own death to hide in the refrain, where you still visit her. Marinette sends you one last letter filled with bitterness over your abandonment of the halls and your blasphemy against the abyss. That's the last you hear of her. Malek's unique position as someone who's both Carolingian and Javadian make him a good negotiator amongst the merchants, and his shop becomes a wonderful blend of items that carry a bit of both lands in them. Anilia becomes a trusted friend, and she always offers to embroider your blouses, even when you insist it's not necessary. Betrayed by your choice, Nessa ceases all contact, but you know that from the shadows, she's redoubling her efforts to summon another envoy. She never introduces the abyss to Michelle, who much prefers Lapo's tutelage to her herbs. As for you and Sylas, please tell me we got a happy ending. Yay! Look at us! All worth it. I screwed over so many people for this happy ending. Sylas' apprenticeship is going well, and the scraping for Gouge carving wood accompanies most of your days. Today, however, she's more vocal than usual. She has been tasked with creating a small idol for a country shrine, and she keeps mumbling to herself. You steal a glance at your beautiful Sylas. She has decided to grow out her hair, and you gifted her a headband to keep it out of her face when she works.
How is it going, love?
Why does the Lady of Dawn need a crown?
Sylas commands your attention much more than the translation dictionary you're supposed to study.
Let me see.
With a bashful smile, she shows you the statuette to be, still in its early blocky stages.
It's shaping up nicely.
You think so?
You leave a kiss on her cheek, and after all this time, it still makes her giggle in delight.
Am I distracting you with all my ums and ahs?
Maybe.
Your love for her is dear like the first light of morning. You nurture its sweetness, knowing that you are heading towards your prime and dusk together. Oh my gosh, we did it! We got our happy ending with Sylas. Look at everyone and everything. This was such a good game. 100% worth the money. Loved it so much. And Sylas was so cute until the very end. I'm so glad we got our happy ending. I will say, don't like being mortal though. Because in my other 2 playthroughs off stream, I romanced Alpheon and Ascanio. Both were really great. Obviously, to be happy ever after with them, you got to be immortal. I also think, like, I mean, the people pleaser me and like helping people in me definitely would prefer the immortal one, because like being mortal is definitely the most selfish act, I guess, as an envoy. Which is not necessarily bad, I mean, but seeing the people I've hurt because I chose mortality kind of sucks. Like Brother Mattia, he helped us so much and he still died. It's bullshit. I thought killing all the leaders would stop that, but I guess not. But it is what it is. But we did it. We finally finished Sigh of the Abyss, so that means next Sunday will be a brand new dating sim. I don't know what dating sim to play. I might have to ask my friends in Discord, which if you want a say, and I'll ask on my socials too, but if you want a say in what I play, here's my Discord if you want to join. But yeah, I know Bustafellows 2 is being localized soon, so I have Bustafellows to play. We also have, what do I have in my library for dating sims? So yeah, I have Bustafellows, which I haven't played yet. There's Sifting Time, which is another Nochi Studios game, which I love Nochi Studios. I have the Winter Tower. There's Stellafire. I played it once. I haven't played it on stream. That would be fun. There's Heart of the Woods. Could do I Love You, Colonel Sanders, but that would be a very, very short stream because that is a very short game. But yes, it's that Colonel Sanders you're thinking of. Or I could get something else off my wish list. Even though I literally was like, I'm going to be on a game buying ban, and then maybe not. But we'll see. But yeah, so that's it. So I guess we'll be ending stream a little early today. So thank you all for being here. I hope you have a lovely rest of your weekend. I hope you have a happy new year. I will be back New Year's Eve and New Year's Day. New Year's Eve, we'll be starting The Witcher. That's going to be our new RPG during the week that I'll play Tuesdays and Thursdays, except for this week because of the raid train on Wednesday. I won't be streaming Thursday. So we got The Witcher. We're starting The Witcher, the first Witcher game on Tuesday. Wednesday, we'll be playing Infinity Nikki for our New Year's raid train. Details are in the About Me section of my page. And then, yeah, we'll have a new dating sim next weekend. It'll be great. But again, thank you so much for your time. Have a lovely rest of your day. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I will see you next time. Thank you so much. Bye.